Good evening, dear English Without Borders community members. We are so happy to see all of you and welcome to our Thursday webinars. And today it makes me double happy to introduce our speaker today. So let's greet Marhabo Kholmurodova. Marhabo Kholmurodova is the winner of English Without Borders Innovative Teacher of the Year Award in 2022. And besides that, she is also a teacher trainer. And today she will deliver a presentation and she will talk about what is second language acquisition and why does it matter. So for those who don't know Marhabo, and I'm sure just majority who are joining this webinar, they already know Marhabo, but for those for whom Marhabo is a new guest speaker, so let me give some brief introduction of her. Marhabo Kholmurodova has a BA in Linguistics, English and French languages from Khorog State University, Tajikistan, and she has obtained a certificate of education from the Aga Khan University, Karachi in Pakistan. In 2018, she got scholarship from the United States Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs to participate in the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Fulbright T program, a 2-month fellowship at the University of Claremont in South California, USA. Currently, she is working with the School of Professional and Continuing Education (SPCE) under the University of Central Asia (UCA) as an English language instructor and a teacher trainer. And she is involved in all projects implemented by the English department of SPCE. Moreover, she has participated in several conferences, including the English Without Borders National Conference and English Language Expo in 2021 and 2022. She won a scholarship to be a presenter at the Cater Conference in 2013 in Kyrgyzstan and made a presentation on critical thinking in English language learning and teaching. Marhabo Kholmurodova is a 2-time finalist of English Without Borders Master Workshop Grant Program, and she conducted 2 teacher training sessions for English language teachers from Khorog GBO. And in addition, she is an English language coordinator of the Association of Teachers in GBO. So welcome Marhabo to English Without Borders webinar. And of course, we know that you always share great presentations and something new for the audience. And dear audience, please use this chance to leave your questions after the presentation to our speaker, and we will address those questions to our speaker. Once again, dear all, we are very happy to see all of you. And Marhabo, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Marhabo, we cannot hear you.
Hello. Yes. Hello.
Yes, now we can hear you. Please start.
Okay.
Thank you.
Greetings to everyone, and thank you, Nasiba, for the introduction. And welcome everyone to my next presentation. And thank you for inviting me to be again the speaker for English Without Borders webinars. Today, while kind of the things that I share usually while delivering presentations, I myself learn, and then I decide to share with other teachers as well. So recently, when doing my CELTA, we had a session on second language acquisition, and therefore I wanted to share this with the other teachers as well. So this is why I'm here. For everyone for joining us, and I think it's time to start. So if you can hear me well, I will share my screen with you. see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you so much. So recently we also had a teacher training with teachers of SPCE, School of Professional and Continuing Education. So if any of you also wants to deliver this presentation with teachers at those schools, I think English without Borders will share the presentation. So, and those who are the members, they can use this presentation to present it to the teachers at their schools. So this is actually the offline, let's say, the offline option of the warmer. If I have, for example, face-to-face, if I have face-to-face training, I ask my teachers, my trainees, to stand up, walk around the room, asking questions that will find people who did or have done things listed. So I usually provide those things in a list, and then teachers go around and ask each other. And the instruction is you should then get some more detail from the person and make a note of the answers. For example, the first question can be, it's not a kind of a question, but let's say it's a statement. So it is like, find someone in the room who speaks more than 2 languages. And the initial question for this statement can be, how many languages do you speak? Do you speak more than 2 languages? Of course, teacher trainees can ask each other some follow-up questions as well. For example, what languages are there? When did you learn them? And so on and forth. But for the online version, I will ask Zuhro to share the poll with you. So we have prepared a poll where you have statements like this, and your task will be to try to answer to these options, like try to answer to these statements. So let's see. Zuhro, is it working?
I already launched the poll. Dear participants, please tell us if you can see the poll on your screens.
There are some statements, and you should try to answer these statements. Okay, good. I think, already have some.
Marhabo, we cannot hear you, unfortunately.
Hello.
Yes, now we can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I think this is just because of the new or we have new internet device installed and it's not working very properly. So I'm really sorry for that. When you cannot hear me, just tell me. Um, I will try to. All right. So um, we have some answers. I think we can stop it now. Zuhra, you? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Hello. Can you hear?
Mhm.
So I think I did it myself.
Uh-huh.
And can you see the result?
Yes, we can see the results.
For some reasons, I can comment. For example, here we have speak more than two languages. About 91% of participants said yes, and 9% no. I'm learning another language at the moment. Okay, so most people said no, 64%, and 36% say yes. Very interesting. What languages are you learning? Can you share in the chart? I would like to learn French. Okay, 55% of people want to learn French, don't want to learn French, so less people want, 45%, right? I am bilingual, yes, 73%, and no, 27% say no. Question statement number 5, I have used English in an English speaking country. Oh, that's good. 55% say yes, which is great. And less people, 45%, they are saying no. 6, I read books and newspapers and listen to the radio, TV in a second language. I think most of us do this, and it's 91%, which is really good. It's good that we read books, listen to the radio, watch TV in English. That's really good. And 9% no. I would recommend those 9% to also try to read newspapers, books, and listen to the radio and watch TV in a second language. It really helps. I found learning a second language easy. Many people say yes, 91%, and 9% say no. I think it also depends. I found learning a second language easy because I have observed that many people have, like, for them it's really difficult to learn another language, but for for many people it's easy, so it depends. I think it depends as well, but here the majority of our participants say yes, which is really good. Thank you so much for trying to answer to the questions. I will stop it, right? I will stop sharing now. And this is something that you can, so I will stop sharing and I just close it. Yes, Zuhra?
Yes, yes, exactly.
So I'll close it. And this was just to show you that you can also use both, like this warm up, the warm up that I have used with my trainees can be used both offline and online. So if you are teaching or having training face to face, you can use this option. You display the instructions on the screen in, uh, in your classroom, or you print it, or you write it on the board if you don't have uh, LCD, or you don't have uh, PowerPoint, or you don't have, um, any other equipment for that. You just write the instructions on your board, and the trainees can follow. Let's go to the next slide. I hardly ever see it here. I don't know why. Okay. Today, as Nasiba has mentioned already, I'm going to talk about SLA, which is second language acquisition. And maybe I will make it a little bit more specific. I'm going to talk about the stages of second language acquisition and relating this to to the level of our students that we are teaching. But before I go to discuss and to present for you the stages, I would like you to look at some questions here. If you can see my questions, could you please try to answer to the questions in the chart? What do teachers need to know about students who are learning to speak English? What do you think? What are some general instructional practices that can be beneficial to students who are learning to speak English? Because I think most of us are English language teachers, and let's reflect a little bit before we before we talk about the stages. What should teachers consider? What should we consider when testing students who are learning to speak English? Would you please tell us your opinion, your own perspective? What do you think? Just share your answers in the chart. And I think the Facebook, if we have people joining us from Facebook, I think they can also write in the comment their answers with us as well. Um, okay, thank you for for sharing which language you really want to learn. Doniska, Spanish, yeah, it's German. Okay, and okay. Thank you, Fernando. I think we have the first answer to our first question. What do teachers need to know about?
Marhabo, we cannot hear you now again. No.
Hello,
Yes, now we
hello,
can. Yes.
hello. Can you hear now? Hello, hello,
Yes.
hello. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Marhabo, we can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you. What are their needs? Fernando is saying, what are their needs? I think, Raihona, okay. I think step by step you get the information about students. Maybe this means students, yes. As we teach foreign language, we ask them a lot of questions. Okay, thank you. Their level first. Their level, Mavluda, thank you. Their level first of all, and then their learning styles. Okay, good.
Hello, teacher Marhaba. Can you hear me?
Yes,
So I'm Sadbarg. It's my
Sabar,
pleasure to take part in your webinar. So, and
good.
thank you for
Sabar.
conducting so interesting theme. So, and now I want to answer to some questions that are here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, yes, you can speak. Yeah, we
So,
can hear you. Go ahead.
the first question is, what do
Mhm.
teachers need to know about students who are learning to speak English? So I think that the teacher should know different things. For example, if we want to how to say, to make our lesson better and the student accept it well. So first we should know what kind of learner is our student. I mean, is the student verbal, sociable? Uh,
Uh-huh. So
uh,
the styles, you are talking about the
yes,
styles, right?
yes, and also
Yes.
in some cases, for example, we should know the reason that the student is learning the language. For example, maybe some student just want because every student might learn the language for different reasons. For example, the student might learn it just for maybe for some students, especially teenagers, school children, they want to enter different kind of universities, maybe abroad, and they learning it for this aim. But some students, they might just learn it because they like speaking English. They have some pen friends who are from different countries, and also maybe some people want to travel. And when we come to the testing, so when when first we know the reason of learning, then when we come to testing, we can just check maybe how did they learn it. For example, if the students want to enter the university, they should learn the grammar well, because the testing is there are a lot of so some teachers says that grammar is not so important, but when we come to the testing, there are a lot of grammar rules. So but some students, if they want to learn it just for speaking, we can test them just by speaking.
Thank you so much, Sadbar, for sharing. And I'm happy to have you here as well. And yeah, Mavluda, teacher Mavluda was also talking about, well, was writing in the chat about learning styles, and also Nasiba is mentioning different learning styles. And you also mentioned that, yes. So besides that, you said that they learn English for different purposes. Like we also need to find out what motivates them to learn the language, right? So what motivations do they have? And there can be kind of different reasons students want to speak, students want to learn the language. And we as again it's a teachers, we better if we find it out at the very beginning of our, for example, side by side
Marhabo, sorry, we cannot hear you.
hello, hello.
Yeah, yes, now we can hear you.
I'm really sorry for this happening every time, but just tell me when and I will try to fix it again. This happens every time for some unknown reason. So thanks, Satberg, for sharing your opinion. Any other? I also see here Mary is saying, teacher Mary Neoshoeva, give a test from like you. Okay, that's really useful when you test them. Yes, at the beginning, teacher need to test student skill, not their proficiency. Gulnora, thank you, Gulnora. Um, Thank you, Gulnora. And Mavluda, teach not for the sake of test, but for comprehension and learning, and an assessment of students' progress. Yes, the result of test can display what students have learned and what we need to reteach in general to meet our students' need. Thank you for this very detailed answer. And Doreen, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry for that. You can
Yes, it's perfect. Doreen is fine. Thank you so much, Ms. Marhabo. Yes, I would like to say something about the general instructional practices. I
Okay.
believe the kind of learners we are teaching now, they easily get bored. So in our teaching practices, we should learn to vary the activities we do in class to keep them engaged all the time.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then we should give them a lot of opportunity to produce and practice what we are teaching them in the classroom and outside the classroom. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We need to use different interaction patterns. We need to come up with, well, teachers generally need to be very creative, and we play so many different roles in the classroom, and we need to be really creative and continue learning and finding out, coming up with different strategies, different activities, so that we our students become more motivated and learn more, and we try to help them to develop their English as much like as we can. We need to try to meet their needs. Yes. When Fernando, we need to be. Thank you, Doreen, for sharing your opinion. And Fernando is saying that we need to be eclectic with the activities. I think with the activities we use. Yes. Okay. If you want to say something, Fernando, about this, you
No,
can.
it's related to styles again, right? I mean,
Mhm.
students have different styles, they have different ways that they prefer to learn. So
Exactly.
we need to be eclectic in order to be sure that we reach all of our students. But one thing that's really important is that we need to be aware that the way what we think is best for the students is not necessarily the best. Sometimes we believe that the way I teach is the best way, or what's best for me might not be best for my students. So this is really
Exactly.
important.
Yeah, I do agree. Yes.
And this is sometimes difficult for us, because we're used to, we learn in one way and we believe that that's the best way for our students. And the tendency is for the teachers to do the same thing,
Mhm.
teach the way we learn. And that sometimes isn't the reality. So we have to be aware of this. This is really
Exactly.
Thank
Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, it turns out that this is something that we prefer is not, does not meet their needs. Yes, I do agree with you. And teachers can motivate their students, and teachers can also demotivate their students to learn English. So we try to, of course, we try our best to motivate our students to learn to speak English, and to try to meet their needs. Nargiza Rajabova, we must motivate students and use different games during the lesson. Yes, exactly. As we have already mentioned, in one class, what role can technology play in second language acquisition? Maybe we will come to the questions later, but uh, I was talking about we must motivate students and use different games during the lesson. So yes, we need to check and be very selective also here as well. Be very careful um, here as well. So I think we will move to the next slide now. Can you hear me, right? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
No, we cannot. No.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm sorry for that. So we will maybe skip this slide because we have already discussed it. And now I hope you see the next slide, which is called language acquisition stages. So we will be talking about 5 stages of second language acquisition and what impact second language learning. And I wanted to share with you the steps. And in teaching, for example, I associate these stages with the level we teach. For example, if we look at the first well, this is the answer to my question. For example, if we look at this first stage, this is called pre-production stage, and I would associate this or match it with beginner level, starter level, or beginner level level of English. In this stage, as we all are aware of, this is the silent period. So this is how it is defined. You can see in my slide this information about Judy, stages of second language acquisition, stages of second language acquisition by Judy Haynes. And what she says, so all new learners of English progress through the same stages to acquire language. So this is based on her theory. There are lots of theories about second language acquisition, but I wanted to share the one that I myself read and learned, studied, and this is why I wanted to share this with you. However, the length of time each student spends at a particular stage may vary greatly. So this is Judy's, let's say, theory of second language acquisition. So the first stage, she identifies it as pre-production, and I um, I met with the beginner level of my students when I teach beginners. So this is the silent period. According to the theory, English language learners may have up to 500 words receptive vocabulary, but they not yet speaking. So at this time, they probably have 500 words, about 500 words, but they don't say anything. Like, this is their silent period. Some students repeat everything you say. So when we teach beginners, we usually do a lot of drilling. We say and they repeat, not really producing language, but just parroting. So they repeat after the teacher all the time, almost all the time. Learners listen attentively and may even be able to copy words from the board, able to respond to pictures and other visuals. I can give you an example from my own experience when teaching beginners. For example, I had students who couldn't even pronounce a word. The words are really simple, but they seem simple to us, as Fernando said, very similar to what he mentioned. So they can be simple for me because I'm an English language teacher. But that student found them really hard to pronounce. He repeated after me with all the other students, but when I asked him to say the word alone, he was a bit embarrassed at the beginning. And then I stopped asking him to kind of um, repeat it after me alone. I thought maybe not now, not at the very beginning, but later then, when we were doing several classes, I started asking him some simple, very simple words to pronounce. And now it's almost at the end of the course. He is really confident in pronouncing, reading English words. So that's why in this stage, we also need to be very careful so that we do not embarrass our students, like give them some more time to learn, understand and duplicate gestures and movements to show comprehension. Teachers should focus attention on listening comprehension activities and on building a receptive vocabulary. English language learners need much repetition of English, and I do agree with this. So the next stage, or second stage, is called, according to Judy's theory, early production, and I associate it or match it with elementary level. So in this stage may last up to 6 months, and students will develop a receptive and active vocab of about 1,000 words. At my school where I teach, students, it takes about 5 months. The elementary level takes about 5 months, not 6, but 5 months. And during this time, students develop receptive and active vocab. Well, of course, the number is approximation. It can be more, it can be less, depending on the student. During this stage, students can usually speak in 1 or 2 word phrases. They start to produce kind of phrases, chunks. They can use short language chunks that have been memorized. Although these chunks may not always be used correctly, of course, they make some pronunciation mistakes because this is not our native language and we all make mistakes. So I think mistakes are good things. I always tell my students, It's okay if you make mistakes. Mistakes are good things, and we can learn from our mistakes. So next stage is the stage number 3, which is urgence. So it's probably, I can match it with the pre-intermediate level. And according to Judy's theory, students have developed a vocab of about 1,000 approximately words and can communicate with simple phrases and sentences. They will ask simple questions that may or may not be grammatically correct, such as, may I go to bathroom? They might miss determiners. Maybe they might use different wrong pronouns, so they still make some grammatical mistakes. And according from my observation, I really notice, I kind of, when teaching each level, I observe these stages in my own classrooms, and they match the levels I teach at my school really well. So English language learners will also initiate short conversations with classmates. When we ask them to work in pairs, they become more confident at this level and they start having some conversations with each other. They will understand easy stories, reading class with the support of pictures, even without the support of pictures. I usually use pictures to just elicit, what do you think the story is going to be about? And then they can read. They will also be able to do some content work with the teacher support. Of course, I think the teacher's support is needed at all the stages, and teachers need to be always there so that they help their students and support their students while learning the second language. Uh, Stage number 4 is called intermediate fluency and is basically matches intermediate level. At this level, according to the theory, English language learners at the intermediate fluency stage have a vocabulary of 6,000 active words. Again, this is approximation. It can be less than this. Use more complex sentences when speaking and writing, and are willing to express opinions and share their thoughts. They can ask questions to clarify what they are learning in class. They can have conversations. They are more confident at this stage and they can have conversations with the teacher. Students writing at this stage will have many errors uh, as English language learners try to master the complexity of English grammar and sentence structure. But still, there may occur some grammatical mistakes and maybe problems with sentence structure as well. Many students at this stage may be translating written assignments from native language. They should be expected to synthesize what they have learned and to make inferences from that learning. This is the time for teachers to focus on learning strategies. Students in this stage will also be able to understand more complex concepts. And the last stage, according to the theory, is stage number 5, and which is called advanced fluency, but I would maybe match it with the upper intermediate level here at my school. And it takes students from 4 to 10 years to achieve cognitive academic language proficiency in a second language. Of course, if students continue learning, like after they do some conversational, some general English, they continue with academic English, they study academic, get familiar with more complex, let's say, words, vocabulary, more academic, more formal language, uh, and so on and forth. So students at this stage will be near native, their ability to perform in content area learning. Most English language
Marhabo, we cannot hear you now. No.
Uh, most
Yes.
most English learners at this stage um, have been excited from English as a second language and other support programs. And at the beginning of this stage, however, they will need continued support from classroom teachers, especially in content areas such as in other, for example, if they are studying other subjects like history, social studies, and also English for academic purposes, like writing, reading, listening and speaking. In comparison with listening, speaking, students usually find and need more support in writing assignments and also in reading strategies. So these are the 5 stages that I want to share with you today, according to the Judy Haynes theory. And now I would maybe ask you to, so for each of these stages, the stages that I have presented for you, they need some, so each level we teach or while going through these stages, teachers need to support their support teachers need to support their learners by coming up with different strategies and activities. For instance, if we go back to the first stage, which is called pre-production stage, at this stage we have looked at the, let's say, characteristics of the learners. What is their capability at this level? And we as teachers need to come up with the ways of how to help our learners at this stage. So what I'm trying to say is that we talked about 5 stages, but I combined stage number 4 and stage number 5 in one. And we have now 1, 3, 4 numbers here. And I wanted you to work with a partner. For that, we will probably divide you into groups and we will invite you to the breakout rooms. So you will see a message in your screen and you just need to enter the breakout rooms. And you don't have to write anything, so don't be scared and don't leave the room, please. So you just need to discuss with your partner what strategies, activities can be implemented to support our learners at each stage that we have discussed with you, that I have presented for you. So people who will be working in room 1 will discuss for 5 minutes, no more than that. What do you think? What strategies and activities can be helpful for students at this level? Room 2, people who will join room 2 will talk about the second stage. People in room 3 will discuss some strategies and activities for the third stage. And people who will be working together in room 4 will be talking about the 4th and 5th stages. So I will display again the stages so that you can take pictures of all, and then you discuss the one that is assigned for you to do in your breakout room. Is it clear? What should you do in your breakout rooms? Can I ask somebody to repeat the instructions?
I think in our groups, we actually need, if I'm in group 1, I have to just describe actually
the strategies.
the strategies that the 5, for example, strategies you did. If I'm in 1, I will describe the first. If I'm in 2nd, I will do the 2nd, and I think so
That's
on.
one thing. If you are room 1, you should not discuss the stage, but you should come up with strategies and activities for the
the strategy, yes.
the strategies and activities for the first stage. So take a picture if you have your phone near you for the first stage, because we still don't know who will be where, so you need to take pictures of all. take pictures of the first stage. Then this is the second stage, early production. You come up with some activities and strategies to implement uh, while you are teaching, for example, elementary level students. This is the third one, speech emergence, the third stage. I hope you took a picture. Hope you are taking pictures. This is the fifth one, intermediate fluency. And then the last one is advanced fluency. So you will have to come up with some activities and strategies to use while being at these stages with your students, while teaching these stages. Okay, so I think Zuhra will help us to divide the participants into breakout rooms now. If the instruction is clear, can you write yes in the chart? Oh, we have, oh, thank you, Zohra. You shared it. Okay. So please, if you can, yes, okay, good. Zuhra, we can now divide the participants into breakout rooms. So we have, let's have 4 groups. We need 4 groups only.
Okay, the rooms are created. They are all, please join your rooms.
So, and I will not order, I will be maybe hello. Hello, hello, Duro, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Hello, you can hear me now? Yes, Duro?
Yes, yes, I can.
Thank you. So I will just quickly go through the rooms, and then do we have participants who are joining us in Facebook?
Yes, we have now 4 viewers live on Facebook.
So they can comment, they can comment, they can write their, they can share what activities and strategies would they use to support their learners in the comment, and you can maybe read it for us.
I think Mehranges Hujaiva didn't join her room, and Mehri also didn't join her room. Dear Mehranges and Mehri, please join your rooms.
Yes, Sukra. Do we have some comments in Facebook?
Let me just check.
I just went to breakout rooms.
Well, unfortunately, today it seems that our audience on Facebook is not so active as they used to be, probably because it's Ramadan, maybe. But we had that question from Sanjit Singhal, what's the role of technology in second language acquisition? So while other participants are working in the breakout rooms, maybe you could briefly answer to that question.
Yes, I know the question as well, but I thought maybe we will leave it to the Q&A session, but I can answer. Technology plays a great role in second language acquisition. We can integrate technology into our classes, and we can motivate by this. For example, using different technological tools can motivate our learners to learn the language better. For instance, when I had the face-to-face training with our teachers, I at the very beginning I played a song for them, and this is called Just Dance. Maybe you also use them in your class. And in this Just Dance, there were actions. So the actions showed actually the language, and students can acquire the language without the teacher as well. For example, from the video, from the gestures, the person didn't say clap, but he just used the actions, and then the word appears on the video. And this is how technology can help to acquire, to learn the language. And this is one example from my own class, but also there are so many tools like Kahoot games, videos and TED Talks, and uh, Jamboards and Padlets, and all these tools can be used to motivate the learners to learn and acquire the language. You give your students a TED Talk, which is also you need to be again very careful to choose which is appropriate for your students, and then your students can watch it. And without the script, I sometimes give my students the script, sometimes I don't give it to them, so they try to listen. And sometimes they listen, they watch it 5 times, sometimes 2 times, sometimes 3 times. It depends, and this helps them learn, acquire the language as well. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, I believe that we in English Without Borders social media try to do something for those who are learning language as well, because besides the content dedicated to methods of teaching, we usually publish something for English learners, like grammatical tips or some vocabulary related to different topics. So we hope that somebody somewhere in Tajikistan is also integrating our videos and posts that we create as a technology in their classrooms.
Yeah, these are very effective. You are, I think, doing the best job. You are trying to expose people to as much English as you can, and I think technology also plays great role in second language acquisition.
Technology rules.
Rules?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
thank
Actually,
you.
today it rules. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mihri, can you hear us?
Yes, of course, I can hear you. Good evening,
Mihri,
everybody.
hello. We are doing an exercise here in Zoom, but you didn't join your breakout room. So since you're here, maybe you could share some insightful information about what activities you usually do in different stages of English language acquisition with your students.
Great idea. Yes, Mary, maybe you'd like to share. if you are here. So
Yeah, so sorry. My neighbor come to my house, and that's why I missed to join the room, and that's why so sorry for it. And for my students, I have a lot of exercises to do. Most of all, if I'm making my lessons interesting. Most of all, I play lots of game, and every day I think about a new warm up, and I search new warm-ups from YouTube, or I create some um, warm-ups myself, and then I'm using it with my students, but I never used it more times. I use already it for 2 or 3 times, and then I create new warm-ups. Most of all, I use warm-ups, and I like so much. And I always play new games for them, for making interesting them. And I use I use technique, because nowadays the students, they like to use mobile phones so much, and they are, if I'm giving some exercises for them with phone to make records or like this, they do it with pleasure. They like it. If the students are weak in English and their English not so good, but for doing technique things, they make it. They try to do it. They are wanted to present. So another exercise I like, I give my students to go somewhere, or to go to old people, or to go the work people, and give interview from them. And they do these things with pleasure too, and they are giving interview from the people. And then one person, if the person in our village that don't know English language, one of the students would be a translator, and they translate it, and they bring the video for me, and it would be with great pleasure. And last week I had the lesson about bees, and my students made a presentation, and they made a one program in the classroom. That one student was she was a presenter, and they imagine that they invite one person which he work with bees, and she already wear the clothes which work with bees, and she was presenting the thing so much, and the other students prepared the question, and they asked the inviter a lot of question. It was so great. It was so
Thank
thank
great
you
you.
so
lesson.
much, Mary.
And
Thank you.
Thank
thank you
you,
so
Mary.
much.
I guess Mary is herself is very creative person, and she is also one of the active participants of English Without Borders webinars, and she must have lots of ideas to implement in her classes.
Thank you so much.
So people are coming back from breakout rooms. I wanted them to maybe present, say some strategies if we are out of time. So will we be able to listen to them or no?
Yes, sure. We always want to listen from our members.
Okay, so people are coming back. Um,
I think the webinars and also just, the time allocated for group discussions, it's always good because it's giving time for teachers to share their concerns, to share their
Exactly.
experiences, and also it builds the sense of community and also the atmosphere of peer helping, peer support, and also
Exactly.
peer learning. Yeah, thank
Exactly.
you.
Yeah, this is the most important time. I do agree with you. Although it takes time, but that's the most important. time, like when teachers interact and they share opinion. Welcome back to the main room, everybody, to the main session. And I would like people to volunteers unmute themselves and share what strategies did you come up with while working in your groups. Let's first listen to a person from the first group, from the first room. Okay. Any volunteers from the first room? Okay, any other rooms, people from any other rooms can speak.
I
Just
have an idea. If you want, I can share my idea. I mean, I don't remember the name of the person who I was with, but she's from Nigeria. If I'm not mistaken, so you can find her name here. I can't find her name anyway. But we talked about it. Oh yes, Doreen. There,
Doreen.
Doreen.
Oh, okay.
So there we go. We talked about an activity which would be like a group activity where we would get students in groups of 3s or 4s, and we would use visuals. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear now? Which
Yeah.
room I'm asking which stage you discussed?
Stage 3, the one
thank
that
you.
you right, and we discussed that the activity can really be applied to many different stages in a very, very easy way. It's an activity that involves group work. It's an activity that involves visuals, and you can decide on what objective you want to focus on. Let it be grammar, or let it be vocabulary, or let it be functions. So the activity is like this: you get students in groups of 3s or 4s, you give them 2 sets of cards, one set of cards with pictures, and the other set of cards with the functions or the vocabulary or the grammar you want them to work with. For example, you wanted to use the past. So you give them verbs in the past and a set of cards. And students will make a story together. Afterwards, they go up to the front of the class and they retell their story to the rest of the group. If you want to work with vocabulary, for example, adjectives, you give them the set of cards and a set of adjectives, and they make up the stories using adjectives. Or if you wanted to work with specific functions, you decide what functions you want them to use, and you ask them to come up with a story. That's basically something that can be easily adapted for any level, really. And you can vary. You can use, as I said, different objectives, grammatical or vocabulary or functional. And there's a lot of cooperation. They cooperate, right? The idea is for them to work together. And as a follow-up to the to presenting the story in an orally way, because the idea is to speak, right? They can have a writing activity about the story, you know.
Good. Thank you so much, Fernando. Thank you so much for sharing. The activities that you share, I think, are very useful to be used to. I hope teachers take some notes and in future they can use them in their classrooms. Yeah, I think Mavluda is raising her hand, and you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, we actually talked in our group with about. I'm also sorry I didn't actually look. I know I had one colleague, male, who was with me in the same group. We talked about stage 2. It's early production. And here we mainly talked about, I think, those students, it's actually starter level, yeah. For them, we can use lots of, okay, we just discussed with my colleague and we said that at this level, we can use lots of reality, visual aids, repetition, and then the person that I was working with actually he shared an activity using with flies water, that it's very vocabulary games, and I think using one and the same flashcards for different kind of activities and very beneficial. We can also do lots of like board game. We can mingling and repetition. Yeah,
Really can. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Mavluda, for sharing. And next room, any other strategies, activities you would like, what discussion you had with your partners in your rooms. Anybody else wants to say? Wants to speak? No. Any other volunteers? Okay, I think you want to have dinner, maybe. That's why you don't want to share. Okay, anybody else? No volunteers?
Okay, we were from the group first, room 1. So we have discussed about these strategies, and we have shared some activities with Mualima Munawar, and we have discussed first about decorating the we have discussed about the complete zero students who began to study English language, and starts with the decorating the room. For example, she shared her ideas once she went to one school which was decorated very well, and this gives the opportunity for the students to feel themselves in English environment. For example, she said that I felt myself like in London because everything, the door, the table, the steps, even were decorated with something like with ABC. And we have discussed also some strategies for complete beginners, like using drilling and repetition, and different games with alphabets, and mostly discussing some strategies on how to quickly learn reading for beginners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gulnura, for sharing. Thank you. And I think we can now wrap it up because probably teachers had time to discuss all the activities. And I also shared with you a Word document you can download where you in the cards that in card in the card box I shared with you a Word document saying suggested strategies to support English language learner. So you have these are suggested strategies and activities that you can use them in your classroom. So thank you so much. And if we have any, let's say, quick questions, maybe we can discuss if we have time. If we are running out of time, we can. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you so much, Marhabo. So we have 2 more minutes. Dear all, please jump in with your questions. We know the topic was very interesting, and you had, time to discuss in groups some of your ideas. But if you have questions to Marhabo, welcome. Please don't be shy and unmute yourself. You can ask your questions. Okay.
I would like to ask Marhabo a question about, because as she has been teaching or working mostly with upper level students, to share maybe some strategies for the 5th stage that she actually presented, some activities or approaches that she has been using, and they are really, useful in her practice. Thank you.
Marhabo, we don't hear you.
All the strategies and activities that you have mentioned, can you hear now? You
Yes,
have
ma'am.
mentioned, thank you, in the while presenting can be also used with upper levels. For example, when I teach upper intermediate, they are also they are also students and language learners, and I usually give them a lot of documentaries to so that they have more ideas, and I try to prime them for English for academic purposes. So I use mingling with them a lot as well, interviewing, gallery work, so presentations, so that they become more confident in delivering a speech in front of the audience. I help them how to deliver, for example, presentations, and try to enhance their vocabulary as well. And I use a lot of vocabulary games also in my class.
I think pitching is also a good exercise because it also gives the students the opportunity to limit themselves to time allocated to them and also deliver, the core ideas they have. So yeah, practicing this is also helpful for students to improve their speaking skills. Thank you, Marhabo. Any last questions for now? Okay. If no, yeah, let us wrap up, and thank you very, very much, Marhabo, for a great presentation. You can see all the comments from our participants in the chat box, and I'm sure we have more on Facebook comment box. So once again, dear all, thank you so much for joining the webinar, for investing your time in self-development, in professional development, which worth a lot. And we value your time and your active participation. And on behalf of the entire English without Borders community, once again, we extend our gratitude to our speaker today for a great and interesting presentation. Thank you so much, Marhabo. And we look forward to more webinars with you.
Thank you all. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you speak a little louder?
Can you
Yes.
hear now? Thank you everybody for your support, for being involved, and for trying to learn more and more, and for improving yourself as an English language teacher. Thank you EWB for these amazing webinars, and hope to see you again.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Thank you so
See
much.
you guys
Yeah.
next week.
Stay tuned on English Without Borders, and
Oh,
see you next
happy
week. Thank you.
Easter to everybody. Happy Easter.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to all those who are celebrating it. Yeah,
Yeah.
wishing
There
you
we
all
go.
the best. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.